Welcome back to the morning show. We're 20 minutes before we get to 8 o'clock on this motivational Monday. Some great conversations we've been having through the morning. And of course, that it continues all the way till 8:30 this morning. Speaking about that, STEM, an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, is a realm where a degree in any one of those disciplines has become increasingly rewarding in modern times. Now, joining me this morning on Zoom is environmental scientist Prof. Midgley, who will be delving deeper on the careers in STEM and to motivate young people to pursue a career that will benefit them for life. A very good morning to you, Prof. Thank you so much for joining us right here on the morning show. Maybe let's get straight into the conversation. How do you start out in science, and what inspired you to pursue a career in STEM?
Well, I think I was particularly privileged because I lived in a house where I did have access to a lot of books, and so I was a little bit of a bookworm when I was a kid. But the thing that I would say is that I had the feeling that most things had already been discovered, and that. But when I went into science and started to learn a bit more, I suddenly realized that, in fact, there's an awful lot that remains to be discovered and that can really do a lot of good for people and for people's lives. And I would say that that is still very true today. So despite the fact that we have so much innovation and so many novel things around us, there remains a lot to be discovered. And particularly, we need young people to enter this field in order to help us clean up some of the messes that our early work has resulted in, things like the production of plastics, which are now persistent in our environment and need ways to fix them up. And many, many other opportunities still exist.
Material engineering is something that I've never heard of before, and it brings me to then wonder what attracted you to materials engineering, and why do you enjoy it so much?
No, I'm an environmental scientist. But of course, as an environmental scientist, one has to be interested in materials engineering because a lot of the future threats and our current threats are derived from the fact that we have an incredibly efficient process by which we turn convenient ideas into products without thinking too much about what are the long-term impacts. And we've got to get a lot better at risk assessment and thinking through what are the long-term impacts of this amazing new product which we've developed. And those might be environmental, they might even be social, as we're now seeing in the field of artificial intelligence. There are some people who feel that we're developing too fast and putting humanity at risk. So, this is a field which has an enormous potential social impact, environmental impact, ecological impact. And we need young people who have the foresight to start being able to assess these risks. And this is a really, really important element of STEM, which we need to develop very, very strongly, particularly here in Africa, where we're often the subject of offers of technology to solve problems. And we need the endemic indigenous knowledge to say, well, actually, we need to look at this a little bit more closely. So that, I would say, is a very, very important area as well.
Maybe, Prof, while I have you on the line and we're speaking about your choices and highlighting on the very extraordinary advancing of the matters of science and engineering, let's speak specifically about STEM. Why do you think there's such a demand for STEM that is growing year by year, and a slow, how can I say, conversion rate of young people choosing to step into STEM?
No, I think there's a very real perception that it's very difficult to get into this area. You've got to learn maths, you've got to learn physics, or all these things. But in fact, it's not that it shouldn't be a barrier to us. With good teaching and good ability to, particularly with all the information now available on the internet, I think that young people have at their fingertips just an infinity of more information that would allow them to self-train and enhance their school learning, particularly with their friends. I think that I was lucky in that I had a group of friends who who were all at university, and we used to talk sometimes about the work that we were doing. But I think today those opportunities are just way more at the fingertips of young people, and you can do entire courses online. Almost generally for free. You just go onto YouTube and you can teach yourself an enormous amount of things in the area of STEM. And I would strongly advise doing that, because you can enhance your learning very fast that way.
Just to imagine with you, Prof, if you think about the future of South Africa and more young people step into STEM careers, what do you think the future of South Africa would look like in a time where there's so much more young people deciding to be in these careers?
Well, I think that STEM needs to be linked also with a much better understanding of how we manage our financial and economic systems, so that everybody can benefit from new advances. So STEM is not the one and only answer, but the future that beckons us with new renewable energy technologies and greater levels of convenience, higher levels of information availability. These are all things that can add enormously better health interventions, better understanding of the production of food, safer food production, better water use efficiencies, etc. These are all things which point towards a future of enormous potential, of a very high quality of life. But we need to seize these opportunities and not get ourselves stuck in the ancient technologies of yesterday, things like fossil fuels, which are adversely affecting people's health and are merely being pursued for short-term benefits. So, young people of today, inform yourselves and look and become aware of the enormous opportunities that await us. But also the risks. We need to train ourselves in both sides of those coins. We need to engage both sides of our brain. The short-term benefit, which is the left-hand side, and the long-term awareness of risk, which is the right-hand side of our brains.
Prof, before we wrap up our time together, unfortunately we ran out of time, but very briefly, do you think our current education curriculum encourages young people to actually pursue careers in STEM?
Well, I don't think it's inadequate. I think we've got a very broad range of people with backgrounds, with differential levels of access to the kind of raw education materials that are out there. I would say that, we spend a lot on education, and if we could just enhance that and link it to better classroom environments, better engagement with online resources, and teachers who are able to be responsive and are guided by the right kinds of frameworks that are not overly focused on box ticking. Then we can go a long way as a country. There are many international examples out there of amazing education systems. And we should try to learn as much as we can about those that really work for our people.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Prof, thank you so much for making time to be with us this morning, and more than anything, for encouraging us, the parents alike, grandparents, to encourage young people to consider a career in STEM. And all the best for the work that you do. Looking forward to seeing more young people step into your environment as well. That's environmental scientist Prof. Guy Midgley on careers in STEM. And remember, careers in this field are here to benefit us and the country. So who knows, maybe load shedding wouldn't exist if the demand was met. And we're going to take a quick ad break. Stay with us, still so much more coming up right after this.